I'm going to do a shop update here, and it's going to be all over the place. It's going to cover a bunch of different subjects in the shop and some new tools that I got. And so if you don't like one segment, wait a couple of minutes because there's going to be something else discussed. Going to be, as I talked about, some tools, the bandsaw, the trailer, a haul I made, some stainless steel trays that I had to build. It's going to be all over the place. So again, if you don't like one segment, wait a couple of minutes and there'll be something else that you might also like. But anyways, here we go. We're going to do a little shop update here, and one of the things that somebody told me a long time ago is shop tables are great, or workbenches are great, but they become storage spaces or landing areas for junk. And the top of this toolbox is kind of like that. Now, I do clean it every couple of weeks. I'll come through and get rid of it. But it seems like when you're working on something or just doing stuff around the shop that it becomes a great place just to throw things in that don't really belong there. And workbenches become the same way. I mean, they become landing areas to put stuff down temporarily, but temporarily becomes long-term in some cases. So that's not why I came over here. There's a couple of things that I got from Mac Tools recently, and I kind of want to show them to you. One of them is this thing right here, and as you can probably tell from what just happened, it's got a magnet on it. What this thing is used for is attaching to the bottom, to the bottom of a drain plug, an oil drain plug. Now, if any of you guys own diesels, most diesel engines have a lot of oil in them. Like my truck, my Dodge Cummins holds 3 gallons of oil. And if any of you know, when you pull that drain plug out, it comes up pretty furiously at the beginning. And usually what happens is you'll have that black oil all over your hand and probably part way up your arm. So what this thing does is attaches to the drain plug, and you can unscrew it, and then the drain plug will just drop down, keeping your hand and everything else out of the path of the oil. And that does come out of there pretty fast. So let me see if I've got some kind of a bolt around here, and I'll just kind of show you. Not a well thought out process here, but anyways, let me just show you if that was like a drain plug, that would attach to it, and you use that to unscrew it, and it just drops, stays attached to it, and doesn't let the oil splash all over all over you. I'll pick that up in a minute, and that does become an issue. Sometimes when that oil comes out, it'll splash all over the place. Like, for example, I have this oil pan right now, which has got pretty high sides and pretty deep. It's got some oil in it right now from when I changed the oil in somebody's truck. But what happens is when that pan is empty, when you first drain it, it hits the bottom of the pan and splashes out all over the place. That's a new oil pan. I used to have this oil pan for when I changed the oil on my truck, and as you can tell, it's got a high top to it. When that oil first comes out and hits it, it would splash all over the place. So what I did was I took and cut the top off of an old 5-gallon bucket and let the oil hit in the center of it, and that top of the bucket would keep it from splashing out onto the ground around the pan when it first comes out. Now, with this one, it will do the same thing, but it usually stays inside of the thing, and then once you get a layer of oil in the bottom of it, the oil just kind of absorbs itself as it drains out. But that Mac tool thing is pretty cool. Good idea by somebody. I'll bring you back and show you the other thing. The other thing that I got from Mac recently was I had this socket set for a long time, and it came on one of those clip-on rails. You probably know what I'm talking about. It's just a rail that holds the sockets. There is no magnet or anything on it to hold it upright in the drawer, and it was very narrow. And you know, the sockets would be clipped to it, but you couldn't stand the sockets up. So the other day, the Mac guy was showing me this thing. I asked him about something because I was looking for something like maybe this kind of a rail for that sockets, and he was telling me about this thing. It's a magnetic rail, as you can tell by the way it's standing up or the way I shake the table or the drawer. It's magnetic, and it holds to the bottom of the drawer. The other cool thing about it is there's a magnet that is holding the sockets onto it. So it's not a fixed thing like these where the sockets actually clip into it. It actually has a magnet that holds it on. And the neat thing is you can see there's rings on the end of it. That's to get it out of the, lift it off of the floor of the drawer. But the other thing that's pretty cool, and what I'll do is I'll show it to you. You can actually take that out and like attach it to whatever you're working on. If it was a tractor or a truck or whatever, hang on and I'll show you the cool feature about this thing. So I was talking about that socket holder. One of the cool features about it, and this lift just happened to be here to demonstrate it on, you could attach it to it, like say that was the frame rail at the bottom of a truck or something. You could just attach it to it, and whenever you want to, you just pull the socket that you need off and put it back on. So it's a really a cool feature. And you do need those little tabs, those finger tabs, to kind of hold it. But anyways, I just thought I'd show that to you. Kind of a neat thing from Mac Tools. I'm not sure if Mac makes it or what else, but if anybody's interested in that thing, just leave a comment and I'll find a part number for you. So one of the other things to be included in the shop update is, I don't know whether it's showed up in any of the other clips, but this truck is in my shop. This used to be my truck before I got the Dodge. And what it was is I had bought it off of a company that I had worked for. They sold some of their old trucks when they didn't want to use them for work trucks anymore. So I bought this off of a company and drove it for a while before I bought the Dodge. And then what I did is I gave it to my wife to drive afterwards, and it was a good truck, good running truck. But my wife has some issues, and she had had a lot of accidents, and the cost to her insurance costs because of those accidents was outrageous, what I had to pay. But it's something that I had to deal with, and But anyways, make a long story short, I kind of told her if she had another accident that I was going to take the truck off the road and she couldn't drive anymore. So she had another accident, and so what I had to do is take the truck off of the road. Took the plates off of it, but kind of know why I'm showing it is it's in the shop and I don't know what I'm going to do with it right now. I might sell it, might pull the engine out and use it for something, a very good running engine, and then just scrap the truck. I mean, there's a lot of issues. There was a lot of dings on it when I got the truck. I mean, she put a lot more dings on it, to tell you the truth. But I'm probably will just scrap the truck. I'm not sure if, I don't know. I at this point I really don't know what I'm gonna do with it. So I just wanted to show it to you in case it showed up in one of my other videos. You kind of know what was going on. But anyways, there it is. I wasn't gonna show any of this, but I decided to. What I did is took that piece of sheet steel, and I've got to make these trays, and the trays are for a dog or a puppy, just so it goes in a cage. Like, I don't even want to tell you what the hell it goes into. Apparently they bought an end tables that the bottom of them are a cage for a dog, and this tray is going to go in the bottom of the cage in case the dog pisses. It won't go onto the carpet. But anyways, what it was, a piece of stainless steel, and I bent it. The edges are going to be straight, just straight up edges on it. The two ends are rolled. I rolled them over so that the dog going in, and there's curved edges on it, so the dog going in and out of the cage won't cut himself on the or have a possibility of cutting himself on the edges going in and out. But it's first time I ever used a bender, a press brake, and it was the rolled edges were kind of a difficult thing to do. Once they got rolled, it really kind of exceeded the capacity of the bender, and so it was a little bit of a struggle, and it still might be a struggle, but I'll deal with it. Bring it back. Okay, so I threw that clip in there about those trays, those stainless steel trays. Well, one of the things that you might have noticed in the clip is, and again, I'd never used a press brake before, but when I bent the things up, you can't bend them at a 290-degree angle because the other bends get in the way. In other words, the edges that you would bend up previously, the first edge you can bend at a 90-degree angle, or two ends you can bend at a 90-degree angle because they will clear the press brake. But when you get to the third and fourth bend on a square or rectangle, what happens is the previous bends get in the way of the press brake of allowing you to bend it at 90 degrees. So you can't really bend it at 90 degrees. So that's what happened, and you probably noticed that on the tray because I showed you the rough one. So to get it at 90 degrees, I had this, when I got the shop, I found this piece of metal laying in the pockets of one of the columns. No idea what it was for, but it's kind of like a dolly, a large dolly for auto body work. So what I did was laid this into the corner edge of it, and took a rawhide mallet and peened the edges up at a 90-degree angle, just so you know, and then I welded them out. Now, I had never welded, that was 20 gauge stainless steel. I had never welded really thin material before, and TIG welded it. What I should have done is put like a heat sink in the corner. In other words, a brass or a copper 90-degree angle to kind of control the heat on it and keep filler material from going back into the corner, because I ended up with some excess filler material that seeped down into the back side of the corners. So what I should have done is taken a 90-degree copper or brass heat sink and put in there to, when I welded the corners up, keep that, control the heat and keep that filler material from going on to the inside of the corners. But I kind of just thought I would show you how I bent them edges up at a 90-degree angle. So another thing in the shop update is I was kind of looking at the bandsaw, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about this because it'll be part of the bandsaw videos, but I was looking at it and kind of noticed that the legs, or the support legs, appear darker than the rest of it. So as I had discussed in part of the bandsaw video, that I was going to paint it gray. I am going to paint it gray, but now I think what I'm going to do is paint the legs black. So the legs are going to be black, the table, or the legs are going to be black, the table and the bandsaw are going to be gray. So to keep with that, I was working on the lead-in table for it, and again, I haven't showed this in the bandsaw video, but what I have done is got the expanded metal on the top and painted it gray, and I'm going to paint the legs of this black so it kind of corresponds with the paint scheme of the bandsaw. But just another little thing for a shop update. I just wanted to show this to you. Pontiac Fiero GT. I went out to Mason, Illinois, and picked this up for a guy. So this is part of the shop update. Is I did make this run. I made it on Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving. I'm gonna post this video, a shop update, but I just kind of wanted to show this to you. A guy that I know bought this, and so I made the run out to Michigan to pick it up. That's kind of not why I'm showing you. I had, when in a previous video, I talked about hauling a bulldozer. Before I made the trip out to Michigan, I brought the trailer into the back of my shop and cleaned it up because there was still some stones and dirt and stuff on the bed of the trailer from hauling the bulldozer. I put the ramps down and cleaned it all up, and then made the run. When I got out to did I say Michigan? Illinois. It was Mason, Illinois that I made the run to. But anyways, when I got out there to pick this car up, I put the ramp down and went to slide this ramp over to narrow it up to get the car so that they could drive the car into the center of the trailer. The ramp wouldn't move over. It worked fine pulling it down, but it wouldn't slide over. And so we just kind of loaded the car. You'll notice it's kind of loaded favoring the right hand side of the trailer. And what I did is just move that ramp over so that I could get the car up onto it. But what the problem is if you get in the back and you kind of look at the bar that the ramp slide on is bent down, and it had to happen when he was unloading the bulldozer off of my trailer. He must have caught that bar with part of the track or something and bent it. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is pulling that bar off and straightening out so I can fix that. But I just kind of wanted to include the run to Mason, Illinois, to pick up the Pontiac Fiero GT. It's got a V6 in it. I haven't. The guy that I bought it, or he bought it off of, loaded it on the trailer, but he says it's a really fast car. But anyways, bring it back.